so happy. Can you hear me? I'm so happy that this book is being recognized by the John Burroughs Association. I want to thank our very small independent publisher, the Griffin Press, which is literally a mother-daughter team. Emily and Dana Buchwald. They really wanted a book about bird migration in light of the sad drop in migrating songbirds that we are seeing now. And they reached out to one of the top experts, Scott Weidensaul, who interestingly is not a children's book writer. He is a naturalist, a highly respected author of nonfiction science, and an expert on bird migration. And he knocked it out of the park with this manuscript that he wrote for A Warbler's Journey. I had already illustrated 5 books for the Griffin Press about other animals and had had a 30-year book illustration career, and since kind of moved my focus away from illustration into landscape painting, because honestly, I love the outdoors. I just wanted to get out of the studio, hear the birds singing, the breeze, and paint, right? Paint landscapes. So that's what I was doing. But they had the idea with Scott's manuscript in hand to kind of lure me back with his amazing story and the offer that I could illustrate the book with large-scale oil paintings of landscapes, that all the different landscapes this little bird was going to fly through, similar to what I was just doing out in the field. So once they sent me Scott's manuscript, well, that kind of clinched the deal, because it was such a moving story to me as a bird lover myself. I accepted their offer, signed the contract, and a year later had produced 17 large standalone oil paintings. They're about 18 by 24, so pretty big and involved for a picture book. I was used to doing picture books as small watercolor paintings, so this was definitely kind of crazy idea, but it's what I wanted to do. Those paintings have since made it into a couple different galleries as complete shows, both in Pennsylvania and New York, and hope they will get into more shows. But anyway, I appreciate the open-mindedness of the Griffin Press and their idea just to use a more fine art approach to children's picture books. I also am glad for their kind of unusual offer that I could work directly with Scott. So this is really unusual in the world of traditional picture book publishing. Usually the editor of a publishing house will want to keep the author and illustrator separate, right? They don't really want them to go off and do their own thing, because the publisher's paying the bill here. But I think they trusted Scott enough. He's a nice guy, super nice guy. And they knew me from past work, so they said, you two, you just get together and make sure that science is right. And so I was nervous because I didn't know Scott. He's a marvelous human being, but I didn't know him at the time. I'm like, okay, But he was amazing. He not once did he say, you really should do this scene or that scene. No, he was involved in the get-go, albeit over Zoom, and even though I was doing these very rough sketches, he had a little art training anyway, so he understood what I was proposing. He encouraged me, and to my relief and delight, he just cheered me on right from the start. And he kept his very few comments just to the accuracy of the details. For example, the angle of the warbler's leg as she lifted off of a branch. That's Scott. Other things like the specific bloom times of the native plants that we showed in the gardens on the Gulf Coast, the native plants in Midwest America, and even up in Canada and Nicaragua. Things like when the moose should have the antlers or not. And even the color of the grass in the tundra in spring after the snow has melted. So I know a lot about nature myself, but with his experience and a much larger worldwide experience, it was a good team. So that's just a hint of what a special project this was. I'm grateful that I got to know Scott and just feel his passion for these little bits of fluff, these amazing birds, but also that I had the chance to follow my own heart in telling his story in a dramatic way through my understanding of various moods that landscapes can have, the way the light moves across them and the way they're structured with sweeping vistas that I tried to often show from a bird's eye view, to stir a sense of awe and wonder in readers of hopefully all different ages for this little tiny yellow warbler who is making her way through all the beautiful and varied lands that she calls home. So to wrap up, I just want to also thank my husband, Mark, who's cheered me on not only of the Europe painting, but for the last 40 years. And I want to congratulate the other winners. I'm really thrilled to be in your esteemed company. And finally, thank you to the John Burroughs Association for this prestigious Riverby Award. Thank you so much.